It's the Brad and Matt Show. It's Brad and Matt. It's the Brad and Matt Show. It's Brad and Matt. One's in New York City, the other's in the Midwest. The brothers-in-law, and now they finally met. It's the Brad and Matt Show. It's Brad and Matt.
Welcome to Matt and Brad Talking Shit.
Hey guys, episode 26 of the Brad and Matt Show. Matty here. Brad, how's it going, man?
It's fantastic. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I am in a hotel room in North Adams, Massachusetts.
I'm sorry.
Well, you know, I'm here visiting family.
I'm sorry. Oh, wait. That's my family, too. Damn it.
That's right, yeah. It's a thing. It's a thing, you know? One of us actually has to come and visit every now and then.
And I'm glad that's you.
This time. You're coming up. You're coming up in the list. It's almost your turn.
No. I had my once every 14-year visit there, so.
That's true. You came out last summer. That was fun.
Yeah.
Remember we rented a house? You saw all the sites?
All the sites?
Yeah.
The COVID sites?
Yeah, so I just did the same exact thing that you and I said we weren't going to do, is mention the number of the episode.
I know.
We have a bad habit of doing that, saying, "Hey, yo, it's episode 26. Nobody cares." But anyways, we're saying it anyways. So guys, today we are really honored to have one of my very good friends, Dr. Srikant Kondapaneni, on our show. He is a doctor at Englewood Hospital in northern New Jersey. Srikant, how you doing, man? What's going on, Doc?
Good. Very nice to see you, Matty, and very nice to meet you, Brad.
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you.
After all these years, Matty, after, 10, 11 years of knowing you, it's the first time you ever called me doctor.
Well, you know.
It's like, it sounded weird coming out of your mouth. You know?
Usually when I call somebody doctor, I mean it half sarcastically, but you're like legitimately a bona fide doctor. So maybe it scares me to actually call you doctor because you're a real doctor.
You might be able to tell him what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
I just play one on TV sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I've done that. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
So, Srikant, how long have you been a doctor?
Well, I graduated medical school in 1999, a long time ago.
Okay.
So, what was that, like 22 years?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been at Englewood Hospital now for about 15 years.
And what's your official title there?
I'm not really sure of all my titles. They keep giving me titles. I'm not sure if I have a title or not, but officially I'm a Chief of Pulmonology there.
Nice.
It's also something called, I'm the Chief of Respiratory, I'm the Chief of the Sleep Lab. I run the hyperbaric department there as well. So I wear a few hats around the hospital.
Nice.
Wait, what is hyperbaric? Can you enlighten me? I don't really know what that means.
So, back in the 80s, you heard about Michael Jackson sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah.
Well, those things really do exist.
What are they? What's the purpose?
So basically, it's a chamber where you go in for a few hours at a time, and it gives you 100% oxygen at a really high pressure. And what that does is it gives you oxygen to tissues that normally would not be oxygenated. Okay? So all the oxygen can diffuse out of your blood vessels much more, and it's great for heal up wounds that won't heal up, or some people say it makes you younger. I doubt that, but there's a lot of other things people to use it for. But the main thing is for some emergency wound to heal up anything that's broken in your body, like wounds and stuff. You get more oxygen to heal up better.
So basically,
there's a lot of professional athletes that will use that for recovery after a game.
Yeah, exactly. Because ligaments don't get much oxygen. So now you try and get a good oxygen to your ligaments so you can help them recover better.
Dude, we're not even five minutes into this interview, and I've already learned something. I had no idea about that. I mean, I've heard of hyperbaric chambers, but I didn't really know what they did. I just thought Michael Jackson slept in capsules all the time because, like, he dug doing that. I don't know. What do I know about it? Oh, man.
So now I'm going to talk to you about the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just a hair over a year ago that basically this country shut down.
Yeah.
So at what point did you know that this was going to be serious?
Last end of February 2020, we had a vacation planned to go to Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And I paid for it, and I knew it was serious when I canceled my credit card, so my hotel there couldn't charge my credit card.
Wow.
Because it's for in March. Okay, so instead, we ended up going to, during that week in March, the second week of March. And I went with my family to a place in Lake Placid. We have a place in Lake Placid in New York, which is about 4 hours from where I live in upstate in New Jersey. And I was there for 2 days, and then I told my wife and kids that I'm coming back to the hospital.
Yeah.
I came back early from our vacation to help out at the hospital.
Yeah.
From the week I left, where we had a couple of COVID cases, to the following week, it started blowing up. And I knew it's surreal. It was very surreal, and that's when I knew it was going to be much worse than expected.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny, Srikant, is I don't know if you remember, but you, me, your wife, and my wife, we actually went out to dinner just before that. You guys were set to go to Lake Placid.
Yeah.
And you guys actually, right when lockdown started, you and your wife Justina were literally the last people me and my wife Shannon hung out with before lockdown started. And I remember when it really started hitting New York City, you were one of the first people I thought of. I'm like, dude, he was just about to go to Lake Placid, and I didn't know. And I got to be honest with you, man. I was a little afraid to text you or call you because I'm like, dude, he's getting slammed right now. I didn't want to interrupt you. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So
it was a crazy time. I mean, it was surreal. I mean, like, the whole country shut down. Driving to work, there's no one on the road. If I'd see one or two other cars on the road, I was shocked, especially during the first couple of weeks. It was, and the only people I saw out were at the hospital.
Yeah.
There was no one else moving. The whole country shut.
When you got back to, so you actually did go up to Lake Placid for a couple of days, and then you came back, right?
Yeah, I came back early to work during vacation,
When you got back to the hospital, dude, what did you walk into?
It was just starting. We were just ramping up. But then within the first 2 weeks, it was crazy. I mean, like, we were getting patients left and right. Like, every hour on the hour. I mean, there's another person coming in. There's patients being transferred to the ICU. People just dying, more than I've ever seen. I've never seen, and feeling of helplessness, not knowing how to treat these people. Because, I mean, listen, we lived with diabetes for over 100 years. We lived with hypertension for 100 years. We know how to take care of them. We studied them. This disease, it's been around in March. It's been around 3 months. We don't know anything about this disease.
Yeah. I was going to say, did you have that feeling when you first came in? It's like, what is this? What is this thing I'm dealing with? You know what I mean? Like, did you guys, as doctors, did you guys, like, at that point have a clue of, like, what it was? Like, how could you treat it? It's like you must have realized it was sort of a flu variant, right? And so, like, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I'll just say from the stuff we were using at that time, the stuff we're using now, we're not using any of this stuff we used 1 year ago.
Really?
Nothing.
That's.
I mean, the stuff we used last March at this time, It's if you use that, it's almost like malpractice. It's like it doesn't work. Like we're using, hydroxychloroquine, which was touted as a miracle drug, right? It's useless.
Yeah.
And here's yeah.
I was going to say, so basically when this all started, I mean, not to kind of dumb it down for me, I guess, is you were just kind of throwing things at it to see if something would stick.
We were.
That's crazy.
I mean, we were even using stuff like high doses of intravenous vitamin C.
Wow.
Like when I say high, you may see that on online, whatever, like, oh, vitamin C may help. But I tell people, hey, we did that already.
Yeah.
Very high doses, like doses you can't even get, like 6 grams, every 4 hours. So every 6 hours, which right now you take a pill of vitamin C, it's 500 milligrams,
Oh my God. That's crazy.
So this was it sounds, the way you're describing it, it sounds like this was literally a life or death trial and error situation.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm haunted by people that died back then. I'm like, could have, if they were here this year, we could have saved them.
Yeah.
It's haunting. I mean, like the mortality at that time was unreal. I remember, I'm in northern New Jersey, which is Bergen County, which is right outside of Manhattan. So Manhattan got hit hard. We were the next epicenter. My hospital was in the county, which is the epicenter of New Jersey. Mm-hmm. So we had the highest concentration in the state of New Jersey, which is almost as high concentration as Manhattan. So we were getting slammed.
Well, yeah. Go on.
Yeah, at one time our hospital, 92% of every bed in the hospital was COVID.
Oh my God.
No other. All the other patients who didn't have COVID were like people with, babies, like maternity, essentially.
So this thing just spread. I mean, it's just how fast this thing spread to everyone. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Never. I mean, you think about this. Like, people talk about, oh, it's the flu. Well, here's the thing. We've been wearing masks for about a year now, right?
Yeah.
There's no flu. We don't see the flu anymore.
Everybody's washing their hands and wearing a mask. That's why there is no flu.
There is no flu. This is that much more severe than the regular flu. The regular flu with no social distancing, no mask, no nothing, killed about 50,000 people. This thing, with a mask, social distancing, hand washing, shutdown of the economy, still kills over 550,000 people.
That's crazy. I mean,
if we did nothing, can you imagine what would have happened if we don't wear a mask?
Millions.
I hate to think what the numbers would be.
Millions.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is actually exactly why we wanted to chat with you, Srikant, on the podcast, because I know that you were at the epicenter of it, and I believe you can offer us and our listeners like a very unique point of view, because I think, it's been politicized. You know what I mean? A lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't really exist, or, actually Brad had a question, in our pre-interview and stuff about, like, there's people, now that people are being vaccinated, people are like, I don't know about that, but you were there, you saw it with your own eyes and your own experiences. So,
I mean, I was, like, during the first few weeks, I was, scared,
Yeah. I think
like,
everybody was.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm in there seeing people who I know have COVID, who are coughing and sneezing, in a room, and I'm in the room with them, less than 6 feet from them, because I have to examine them, Yeah. And, of course, during that time, we didn't have adequate PPE. We're using PPE. We're trying to figure out how to save PPE, and I'm worried about not just for myself, but for my family.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, so you go to the hospital, you run your shift, and you come home. What's your routine? I mean, I've seen the stories on TV where some people like rented a camper or bought a camper and stayed in there to stay away from their family. But for you, your wife is also a doctor, correct?
Yeah.
So that kind of wasn't an option for you guys because you have children.
Yeah, we had children. My wife's mother actually came to live with us because she lives alone, so we can actually watch her. So I would come home, I would run upstairs, change my clothes, take a shower, before coming back down.
Yeah.
And I would take some pills of vitamin C because who knows? I don't do that anymore. The vitamin C, you know.
Yeah.
But it was I was scared for my family.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine how. I mean, I was sitting in my house and I somewhat had the fear of this, but I knew that I wasn't going to be around anybody but my family, so I couldn't even imagine being in your shoes. How frightening that.
Like one of the things that kind of made me feel better, in a way, was that about a month into it, when we got some testing availability, we tested everyone for their antibodies.
Yeah.
Okay, to see if you were exposed, if you did antibodies. None of us had antibodies, which means none of us got exposed to this virus. So that made me feel a lot better, meaning the PPE does work.
It was,
Watch it, like whatever I was doing, washing hands and soap and antibacterial soap and wearing masks, it works.
So you haven't had it yet?
No.
Awesome. That's awesome.
No.
Me neither. And I believe Matt is COVID free as well.
Yeah. We've talked on the podcast about I may be one of the most tested people that that folks know because I do background work on shows, and every single show is a different production company, and they all have their protocols. And for each show, I got to have 2 or 3 COVID tests. So, like, no kidding. I think at last count, I'm approaching 60, dude. 60 different COVID tests
Oh my God.
since the beginning of this. I mean, my nose looks like the Holland Tunnel, But
Your nose looks like probably think you did cocaine or something.
Yeah, I know. What you were just describing, Srikant, about the beginning of it, when you would come home from work and go upstairs and shower, and Brad, I've told you a little bit about this. When in the beginning of this, New York City and northern New Jersey was the epicenter of it, and nobody knew what was going on. I remember, me and my wife, we'd put on the latex gloves. We have boxes. We still have boxes of latex gloves laying around. Yeah. But we would put on the latex gloves, put on the mask, put on the shield, the face shield, and it was like you were gearing up for battle just to go to the grocery store, because nobody knew what was going on. So to hear that from you, it shows that it wasn't even just on the ground level, man. It was happening in the hospitals too. People trying to figure out exactly what this was.
Yeah. And what we knew about it kept on changing with every few weeks. What we did and how to treat them was changing every few weeks.
Did you guys run into one of those ventilator shortages that we heard about? Yeah.
Almost. We were just like a few patients away to be done. No more vents,
Wow.
We, in terms of our intensive care unit, we transfer other areas of the hospital to intensive care units. Like, for example, we had like 30 beds that were for post-op orthopedic people, knee replacements, hip replacements. We made all those rooms into ICUs. So we made different areas in the hospital that were never meant to be in the ICU into ICUs as well. And we got ventilators from the government, but these ventilators were not good ventilators. They're made for temporary use. They're made to all be used like 2-3 hours at a time for transport, not for and these people were on ventilators. They were on ventilators for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're over a year into this, and things seem to be getting a lot better.
Yeah.
So at your hospital, are you guys still on like a high alert, or are things starting to relax a little bit? What's going on there?
It does fluctuate month to month.
Okay.
For example, in last summer, we were on low alert. Then during the winter, when we had a little bit of a surge, remember I said last year we're about 92% of the hospital was COVID.
Yeah.
We were up to about 20% during the winter, which is still much less than what it was previously, but nothing that we couldn't handle. You know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then it went down, and then over the past 2 weeks, at least in New Jersey, it's increasing again. Now we put certain restrictions on visitors and everything again.
Again. Yeah.
So it's very fluid. It changes with the times, changes with the variant. I mean, right now, the UK variant is very prevalent in Jersey, and that's
okay. So, can you tell us what the UK variant is?
Okay. When we talk about variants, what they mean is there's a little mutation in each of these viruses.
Okay.
Now, UK variant, the difference between that and what we had last year is it's more easily transmissible. Okay. What that means is you don't need as much what's called viral load. If someone coughs on you with a mask, you don't get much virus coming out of that mask.
Yeah.
Previously, it's 1 or 2 viruses came onto you, your body could handle it. But if 50 viruses came onto you, your body couldn't handle it. So now you probably already need 4 or 5 viruses with the UK variant versus 50 viruses. You know?
Wow, that's scary.
Now I just made up the numbers, okay?
Right.
Just
Yeah,
to prove the
yeah.
point, but it's
But
like that. That's what it means.
You're illustrating the maybe not the lethality, but the definite concentration.
Yeah.
That in other words, what you're saying, the viral load is less for the variant than
Yeah.
typical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let me
So-
ask you another question along the same lines. So we've heard you mentioned before about the flu, H1N1, correct? Now, what really is the difference between that and COVID-19? I mean, like, what makes COVID-19 so much more contagious and lethal than your typical flu?
So, the flu, it causes an infection, okay? It causes an infection, it affects your lungs, and then eventually the virus goes away, and you recover. And 99% of people recover. This virus, it's different in that even after the virus is gone, for many people it's deadly because it can affect your immune system. And your immune system overreacts and starts attacking your own body.
Ah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's why it's deadly. And then eventually that can lead to blood clots as well. So these are some things that the regular flu never did.
Okay.
The regular
Wow.
flu is just an infection. Once the virus is gone, it's gone and that's it. With this virus, the virus could be gone out of your body, but the immune reaction you have, but the effects it has on your immune system and the blood clots that it can cause are still it's still in you, and that's what's causing the deaths.
Wow. So it's almost like
Yeah, that's scary.
your immune system goes to war, but it keeps fighting even if the virus is gone.
Exactly.
So have you've been vaccinated, correct?
Yeah, I was like on the first day.
I was gonna say it's guys like you that were the first guys. you and your team, I'm sure.
Give it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask, any side effects?
Not me.
Not you?
I like even after the second vaccine, I did something I never did, which is I cleaned out the basement room, in the basement storage room after the second. I gave me more energy. I found, I was like, get the vaccine more often, like
You're like-
the rest of the house,
I'm gonna start doing renovations over here.
Yeah.
So then, what would you say to Because there's a lot of people, and especially where I live, there's a lot of people that are very on the fence about getting the vaccine. They don't know if they trust it or whatever their reason may be. What would you say to those people that are on the fence on making the decision on getting the vaccine?
I mean, if they're worried about the side effects, which about 10-15% of people do have side effects. My wife had a side effect. She was tired and fatigued for like 24 hours. It can last. I mean, the side effects will last about 1 to 2 days if you have them. Okay, and considering how many millions of people have gotten it, there hasn't been one confirmed death because of it. Because of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of safety and efficacy, well, first of all, you're talking to a person who's a big proponent of vaccines. Okay.
Yeah.
Vaccine. If you look at how long vaccines have been around, from the smallpox vaccine over 200 years ago to now, and then if you look at all the medical innovations we've had since then till now, besides vaccines, if you look at penicillin, antibiotics, cardiac stents, Lipitor, cholesterol medication, all the lives that they saved, all those innovations, vaccines have saved more lives than all those other innovations put together.
Wow. Yeah.
Can you imagine if we did not have the polio vaccine? Do you know how many deaths there would have been?
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy to think about it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I'm all in. Just so
Yeah.
you know, I'm all in. They can't
Yeah.
get that in my arm fast enough.
Yeah. And after 200 years of experience with vaccines, and all different types of vaccines, and they all work differently, we haven't found any true long-term effects. I'm not talking about some poor studies, autism, or this or that. I'm talking about which has been discredited. But no vaccine has caused other types of cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
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 And people worry about this new vaccine because it's using a different technology. Okay, it's called mRNA. They worry about it's too new, but if you look at the science behind it, all it is the previous vaccines would give the entire virus, a dead virus, into your system. Your body takes up the dead virus and then makes antibodies against it. What the new vaccines do is give you a little piece of its genome of the virus, just a little piece. And your body takes up that genome, it's called RNA, and then makes the antibodies. So people are like, okay,
Wow.
yeah. So
Okay.
so it's actually, if anything, it's a little bit more safer.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow.
Awesome.
And,
See, I
and
didn't
if
even know about
anything-
that.
Yeah. And if anything, and people worry, okay, if you're giving its little DNA, does it get incorporated into your DNA?
Oh.
It does not.
Yeah.
It does not get incorporated.
Is that
So
even
that's
possible?
a misconception.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's like your cells take it up, just like any other pieces of infections, and it makes antibodies, just like any other antibodies it develops. People are like, it's been this discussion, oh, it gets incorporated into your DNA. No, it does not get incorporated. It just gets the same types of process that's done when you build immunity to any other infection.
Interesting. I mean,
yeah,
this is
that's-
all new information to me. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, in the way that they created the vaccine.
Yeah. And if
So-
people worry about, how quickly it was done, it's done so quickly, it has been studied and all that. Well, if you look at the studies, and the reason why it happened this quickly was because, well, capitalism. They threw a lot of money at it.
Yeah.
So, and then also like before, it would take years to develop the vaccine, but if you throw a few $1 billion at it, you get all the massive resources of American knowledge, scientific knowledge,
Yeah.
thrown at it. You can
Yeah.
you can do some amazing things very quickly.
Isn't that something?
And-
Isn't that something? You
and-
wonder about other diseases. You know, when you say that,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah. And then And then the reason why it was developed very quickly, and then in order to see how efficacious it was, the reason why it didn't take that long to see how efficacious it was because the disease was so prevalent. Meaning, everyone got the vaccines, when they're testing them. If there wasn't much COVID this past summer, then they couldn't see how efficacious it was. But, people were out and about doing things, so there's still a lot more COVID than they expected, so they can see much sooner how efficacious it was,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that saved time. And then the third reason...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and then the third reason came out very quickly was because all the money they threw at it, like usually in the past, when a medication got approved, then the company would start making the medication, which would take a few months. They got to rev up the factories and production and deliver it. But with this, all the money that was thrown at it, the U.S. government said, here, do your studies, we're going to start making the vaccine. We'll buy all the vaccine already. Even if it doesn't work, you still keep the money. So the companies made the vaccine so that if it was proved successful, it can be shipped the next day, which is what happened.
Wow.
So that saved a good 6 months right there.
So normally when they're making a vaccine, do they have everybody that was involved, like for this COVID vaccine, involved in every other vaccine? Or does, say, one company just work on this vaccine and test it, and then they do it, and then, another company will jump in and say, oh, well, we could probably make some money off of that, so let's go ahead and make it too? Or do they all just, when there's a vaccine needed, everybody just jumps in and goes, like this one?
Yeah, kind of like what you said. Every company jumped in.
Okay.
Because they saw, it's capitalism. There's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is one of those things where it needed to be made as fast as
Right.
possible.
What do you have to? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what do you have to say about people who are looking at different vaccines from different companies in different ways? I mean, we just saw, what was it, a week or two ago, the European Union, a bunch of countries stopped using the AstraZeneca vaccine. I mean, if I guess my question is like, if you get an appointment for a vaccine and somebody's like, oh, you're getting Pfizer, you're getting Moderna, you're getting Johnson & Johnson, you're getting AstraZeneca hasn't been approved yet in the U.S., but should people worry about that? I mean, is there a reason to worry about the different brand names, I guess, of the different vaccines?
Yeah, but right now there's 3 vaccines approved in the U.S., and I tell my patients to get whichever one's available. Because here's the thing. They look at the efficacy. One vaccine's 93%, one vaccine's 92%, another vaccine's 78%. The Johnson & Johnson, 70-some%. Say, oh, is it less efficacious? Why do you get that? But here's the thing about, if you look at the numbers, even though Johnson & Johnson is, quote, less efficacious at giving you mild to moderate disease, but it's 100% effective at preventing hospitalization or death. They all are 100% effective at avoiding hospitalization or death. So with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine at 78% efficacy, okay, you have a 22% chance of having maybe a low-grade fever or some runny nose.
Right.
Okay.
Versus other ones, 94% likelihood you only having a low-grade fever or runny nose.
Right.
But even the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will prevent you from needing to go to the hospital or dying, 100%, just like the other vaccines. So the safety, the most important thing, they all do 100%.
Is not killing people.
Yeah, Exactly. Not killing people, not hospitalization, not giving you this long COVID, not giving you problems for weeks or months. Yeah, they all do that.
There you go. You hear that, everybody? Go get your vaccine.
Yeah.
Indeed. So, okay. Dr. Kondapaneni, we thank you so much. We're not done yet because we have a lot on to lighter things. I mean, you talk about medical stuff all the time. We got all that out now. We all know about, COVID and the vaccines. Now, I understand you went to the University of Michigan, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, the other day, and Brad, I'm giving you an intro here because I know this one's yours, all right? The other day, Srikant texts me. He's like, oh, yeah, he mentions this guy, Chris Webber. I have no idea who Chris Webber is, right? The next thing I know, Srikant's telling me, oh, he was the Fab Five, University of Michigan. Brad jumps in. He's like, Matt, you know nothing about college basketball? I'm like, no. I'm like, who's this guy? You want to talk about that, Brad? Srikant? I mean, I have no idea.
I can remember watching the Fab Five on TV and actually Jalen Rose ended up playing for the Indiana Pacers for a while.
That's right.
So, and actually now Howard is the head coach of University of Michigan basketball.
Exactly. Boy, you're following really close.
So,
No idea. I have no idea about this.
Okay, here, Matty. Okay, talking about fashion. Okay, this may get you. Okay, before the Fab Five, all basketball people wore those tight shorts like Larry Bird used to.
Okay.
Fab Five were the first group that wore those long baggy shorts. Sorry.
Okay. All right, so this is why they're famous.
Yeah. So they should. Now the NBA, everyone does it.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that gets. So no more of those. I don't know if you'd like those shorts, Matty. You know?
I don't know, man. Bird is the word, man.
As you can, if you follow Matt's social media,
Oh God, here we go.
he likes his pants tight.
you
Exactly.
know,
I mean,
Listen.
that's
don't be jealous, Brad. I'm a fashion plate over here. I'm a fashion plate.
no.
Or at least I attempt to be. I don't know.
So, did you ever get to watch those guys live?
Oh yeah, I was a junior and senior during those years. I was watching them live, and yeah, I went to school with Chris Webber, high school.
Oh, really?
So, you went to high school with him too? Oh wow.
Yeah, I was 2 years older than him. He may not. He'll probably, if you run into him, he may joke around that he doesn't remember me at all, or he doesn't know who I am. But I think we were tight.
You know what, Srikant? We're gonna get you hear me, Chris? We're gonna get Chris Webber on the podcast, and we'll have you back. You can tell him that. We'll talk about it.
We'll say Srikant taught you everything you know about basketball. Can you tell us about that?
Oh man.
No,
So
that was a super fun team to watch play basketball.
Yeah, they were amazing. They brought a lot of energy, especially when they were freshmen.
Yeah, but until the infamous Weber walk.
Oh, yeah,
don't
Weber
even know.
walk right before the timeout, the Weber timeout.
You guys
Yeah.
are speaking Greek to me. I don't even know about it. Yeah.
Matt, we're talking sports ball. Go ahead.
Sports
and
ball.
Put on your skinny jeans and your
Sports ball. Which team got the touchdown? Which I don't know.
When we talk basketball, Matt's like, is that the one with the round ball that they play with?
I don't know.
know.
The oblong. I don't know. How big is the ball? I don't know. Yeah.
So
Srikant,
we can't. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say,
Go ahead,
did you guys since you had that trip planned to the Dominican Republic, did you and your wife ever get a chance to go back?
Oh, we haven't been anywhere since then.
So any vacations on the horizon, or I mean, did you make
This summer.
did you make a deposit at the hotel? Did you get your deposit back? What?
I canceled my credit card, so
You
they
can't. Oh,
charged
see, there you go. You heard it from the doctor. If you got to worry about a deposit coming back, just cancel your credit card, and then you don't need to worry about it.
So, well, Srikant, we cannot thank you enough
Oh, it's my
for
pleasure.
talking
Fun
to
talking
us
to you guys.
today. I learned a lot about COVID and vaccines and what really was going on inside the hospitals when this all went down. I mean, I can't thank you enough for having that discussion with us.
Yeah, thank you. What do you
Appreciate it. Yeah.
what do you see as the future, man? Where do you think we're going with this?
I think listen, it depends on these variants and how many people get vaccinated. It depends on a lot of factors, but listen, there's a lot of science and research going on. I mean, like right now, they're working on a pill right now to people who have COVID, who develop COVID. They can start taking the pill while you're home, and treat it at home so that maybe you can avoid hospitalization. So by next year, I'm sure that pill will be, so hopefully by next year, we'll be out of mass, people will be vaccinated, and there'll be a lot of testing available so that, hey, you develop COVID, okay, take a pill, make it go away within a few days.
Interesting.
Nice.
That's by next year.
Isn't that something that medical science has progressed to that point where we can handle such a catastrophic global event such as the COVID-19 pandemic, and at a year and a half in, there's a potential that it could be helped with a pill. Yeah. How about that, huh?
Yeah, exactly. The pill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I'll echo Brad's sentiment. Srikant, thank you so much for joining us on the Brad and Matt Show. And the reason I asked you about your vacation is that you and your colleagues in the medical profession, if anybody deserves a vacation, it's you guys, man. So
thanks a lot, man. Appreciate
it. Thank you for all your hard work. And ladies and gentlemen, we have Dr. Srikant Kondapaneni with Englewood Hospital on the Brad and Matt Show today. Doc, thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Brad and Matt Show. Check out our YouTube channel for our video interviews with our guests, as well as additional bonus content. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Brad and Matt Show and at The Brad and Matt 1 on Twitter.
It's the Brad and Matt Show. It's Brad and Matt.